Welcome to episode 59 of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B. Today's guests are Jerry and Janet Gadett. Jerry and Janet Gadett from Grosse Pointe, Michigan have been married for 15 years and have 9 grandchildren. Jerry started out in baseball at 18 years old and later went on to professional softball. He won 4 world championships. Jerry was also a professional golfer in the mini tour and won 3 tournaments as a professional. In the winter, he worked in the motion picture business as an apprentice, and after only 3 years, started doing movies. Janet has been in the insurance industry as an agency owner for over 45 years. Her third-generation insurance business, the Pepler Agency, has a large clientele based completely on relationships. Janet does not do any marketing and gets all new clientele strictly from referrals. Building relationships with their clients ensures longer client retention. Janet ensures that clients feel extra special by incorporating the best of relationship marketing by using send-out cards. Janet is also the president of the Detroit Dog Rescue. They have rescued over 800 dogs. And now, Cody B.
Hello, everybody. This is Cody Bateman. Welcome to a brand new episode of our Relationship Marketing Podcast. Super excited, as we always are, for the guests that we have on today. You've already heard a little bit about them. We're going to start this interview with this fine couple here in just a second. Before we do that, just want to do a quick shout out to all of our listeners. Appreciate all of you coming on each and every week and referring this to other people, getting the audience to grow. At the end of the day, we're simply just trying to help people be kind to other people and reach out in kindness, act on your promptings to reach out in kindness to other people in your personal life and in your business. As a result of that, we've become the premier relationship marketing system in the world today simply by teaching people to act on their promptings and to be kind. And if you want to implement relationship marketing at its very best, that's the principle that you go by. You simply go by the principle of giving for the sake of giving, saying thank you for the sake of saying thank you, sharing appreciation just to share appreciation, detaching yourself from any outcome of doing so, just simply being kind to people and allow the law of reciprocity to work on its own. It's beautiful. It's incredible. We have stories from myriad of different industries of people. If they use our systems with that philosophy driving it, they get phenomenal results. The reason that I teed up that way today is because I've got a couple on with us. This couple, they're masters at living this philosophy and following up with clients and customers with the right mindset. So without further ado, you've already heard the names, Jerry and Janet Gadett. How are you guys?
We're fine.
It's great.
Glad to have you on the show with us today. Now, this is a very unique opportunity for us because we have Janet Pepler Gadett. Janet runs the Pepler Agency, the insurance agency. So all you insurance folks out there, you want to tune in today because we're going to talk about specific things that Janet does with her own Pepler Agency. In fact, Janet, just tell it. Well, before I do that, so we have Janet who specializes in that, and then Jerry right next to her, her husband. He is one of the top relationship marketing experts out there today. I mean, he teaches people, coaches people, and helps people to live these principles. And he sets up programs for people to follow and coaches them along the way to build their business through relationship marketing. One of the best out there at it. So what a great duo that we have on with the two of you today. As we get started, I want to start with you, Janet. First of all, just tell us a little bit about the Pepler Agency. Just give us a rundown on how your business works.
Well, the Pepler Agency is a third-generation insurance agency, so we've been around for quite some time. We're locally in the Grosse Pointe areas, the residential area, and over the past since 1932, we've certainly built a large client base for our insurance agency. And it's based on relationships. I don't market people I don't know. It's all referral business. It's people that we want relationships with, that we want to look out for their best interest in insurance. I don't want to write a policy and have it gone in 6 months and say next. So basically, we are full service to our clients.
So property and casualty, tell us the kind of products you have.
Well, we write a package. We write a home and an auto together, along with if they have boats, motorcycles, snowmobiles, umbrella policy, anything that we do business insurance too on a smaller scale, the small business owners. I don't write the big manufacturing firms, but anything you would have in your personal life. You work hard, you accumulate, you have a nice house, you have nice cars, you need to take care of those in the event of a loss.
So as an agency, you represent multiple providers. You go out, kind of shop the best providers for the need of your client. Is that how it works? Or
Exactly, Cody. I'm an independent agent. So we contract with companies that we want to contract with. It's a dual purpose, and we represent probably 8 different companies. And when someone calls in, we're able to shop that person's needs within all those companies and give them the best possible outcome for their needs.
Okay, so you mentioned it's a third generation since 1932. So I'm assuming this is a family business passed down, right?
Exactly.
So when did you start with the Pepler Agency?
You really don't want a year, do you?
Well, you don't need to give me a year. Just give me how many years.
Quite a long time.
So you've been doing it a long time, but at some point you entered the Pepler Agency and there was already a customer base. There was already a list of customers that you had, right?
Yes, exactly.
So when you took over the agency, you already had a list of people that your predecessors had built, and you were maintaining that list of business. Is that right?
Yes.
So my first question is, let's talk about that group. So you come in and you're brand new, a lot of years ago, and you've got this base of business, and you probably knew some of those people, but you certainly didn't know all those people. Is that right? Or
pretty much, but it was back then it was smaller.
Right.
I mean, I've taken this business and I've really grown it. I've got 7 other people working in the office. And back when I came in, I was the 3rd person in the office. It was a 3-person office.
Okay.
So I learned to know the existing clients real well.
So when you first started and you got, you adopted this list of people, and you were acquiring a new list as you were bringing new people on. Tell us a little bit about, when you first started, what did you do to make connection with that current list of people that you had, to build relationship with the people you already had in your system?
Well, again, Cody, that was so long ago, and the agency was so small. The relationship was very personal. It was a personal knowledge of the people. And it wasn't until later, as things got bigger and bigger, and I met Jerry and really learned how you can reach out and stay personal, even though your database is so extended. It's not like the olden days with the handshake and here's your policy. But learning send out cards through Jerry, when he introduced that to me, it's just amazing the kind of touches we can keep with our people now.
Okay, so when you first started, you were small. It was belly to belly, face to face, handshakes, people that you knew. And then you began to grow the business. And several years after that, you met Jerry. And of course, Jerry was a specialist in the relationship marketing space even before send out cards. Send out cards is simply a tool that both of you use now, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But as Jerry came into the picture, you mentioned that you started to incorporate some things because you were bringing a lot of new people into the business as your clients and your prospects. So as Jerry came into the picture, you started working together. Tell us just, and both of you can speak to this, just tell us a little bit about the kind of things that you did to build up the relationship with your people in this agency.
Well, before I met Jerry, I really didn't have a product in place to do with the people. When they come in to sign the application or whatever, thank you very much. And that was it. Maybe give them a pen with our name on it. Nothing much. But after meeting Jerry and seeing the send out cards, we have a process in place that is so streamlined and so easy that every new person gets a personal card Many of them get a package of brownies with it just for becoming our customer within the week of writing their policy. So if we haven't already concreted a great relationship with the time we spend on the phone educating them and selling the policy, they get that package and then it firmly concretes them.
Excellent. So you send package out to new users. I know that I was on a call with Jerry a couple of weeks ago, and Jerry, you can kind of speak to this because you mentioned something about, I think you had 5 or 6 people in the office who each have their own little VIP list that they've. Can you tell us how does that work? What do you do with VIP lists?
Well, they're all the clients are all tied together, and each girl in the office has their own little clientele or people that they service. And when someone comes in and they might want to add something to the policy, they add it to the policy. And by the time the people get to their cars, the girl has already gotten on the sendo cards and sent a thank you card, and boom, push the button. And before they got out of the parking lot, they had a card coming to them, thanking them for using the Pepler agency.
And you usually send a gourmet gift, brownies or something like that with her, right?
Janet had a thing, I'm not sure how often she does it now, but she'd go out to the girls and tell the girls that she'd like them to send brownies to their 10 favorite clients. And each one of the girls would create that list that they have, and they send it out to the 10
Just
favorite
people
clients
that we had touched during the month, and like maybe a couple where we're adding new drivers to their policy. And that's not inexpensive. So we work with them, get that on, they're gonna get a big bill. And just to kind of soften it and let them know we're here for whatever your needs are during this process of young drivers coming up. I'll even see if I can get a picture of their kids if I know them, and have a picture of a car with the picture of the kids and send them a family size brownies to them. Yeah, we do that. We do Valentine brownies to a large group. I'll pick like maybe 100 or 200 clients. I send 4,000 Christmas cards a year with our agency picture on it. And ever since we started doing that, it's amazing because so many people know us by our phone voices and they don't know by picture. And now that we send the pictures out, we get cards back from everybody with our names on it, and they want to keep that contact close.
So you do individual sends. So like a new policy's written, you'll send a thank you with a gift.
Yes.
An upgrade to a policy or whatever, or a claim on a policy, you'll send individual pieces out. But both of you have mentioned several different you keep saying groups. You send to this group and you send to that group. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I think most people are used to the idea, at least they don't do it, but they're used to the idea that, hey, when somebody does business with me, I ought to send them something to say thank you. 97% of business people never do it. They say they should, but they don't. And you're certainly in that 3% group that consistently does it. You teach your staff to do it, but you also get creative with these groups. 4,000, that's a big group. Yeah. Like, this gives perspective on the size of your agency. I mean, there's 4,000, that's a big database. But then you have little subgroups, a Valentine's group, you have this group and that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, because I think that's one of the most powerful parts of the system that you use, is not only the ability to send one at a time, but to choose select groups.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about, how do you figure out how to set up groups? What kind of groups do you have, and what do you send to them?
Well, what's really nice is the agency management system that I use. It's called the Applied System. It's tied in single entry. Everybody in my office is on the same. If one person makes a change, everybody sees that it's real time. So we have a report system in there, and I can run a report in there and ask my system to give me just people with this zip code, or this people that have a certain value of home. There's so many ways I can narrow out those reports and download that right into send out cards, and that will give me my groups. And then sometimes we just get real creative. If I have too many, well, that was back in the points day. If I had too many points sitting there, I would just go out and tell the girls, give me your 10, 15, 20 clients that you've worked with this month. Let's touch them. And then we could put that group together, and I could do one card, put them all in the group and send it with one click.
So how many years have you been doing this with the cards?
When did you start?
15,
No, the cards. When did you start sending out cards?
2005.
So
February 2000.
14 plus years.
Years.
You've incorporated what you just talked about into your business. So our listeners always want to know results. What are the results? So share with us, you know, what has this done for your business over the last 14 years?
It's made me a better business person because every speaker tells you how you have to thank people, and when you're in a personal relationship, anybody, they can take their insurance to anybody down the street here, and you have to make it a personal relationship. They have to know that you care. And with send out cards, or just touching. I remember the day back before I had send out cards when we'd get a pile of generic cards and just sign your name and send it out. And that really said nothing. I still get those from people, and I just have to smile when I get those and go, wow, how far have we come?
Right.
But what it's done for my business, like I say, I really see it on the Christmas cards. Nobody ever sent us Christmas cards. And when I started doing that, the cards we get back, because people want to, they see us, they talk to us personally, and that means a lot to them.
So you mentioned earlier, you don't do any other kind of advertising or marketing. Is that right?
Not much. I do some of the local magazines. I don't do newspaper. I do referrals, and in the card that goes out to every new client, you know, we pretty much just basically thank them. But there's a little line at the bottom that say, you know, we hope if you're pleased that you'll refer your friends and relatives. So I do put that line in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. I'd like to issue a challenge to you, and I have a lot of fun with this, and it's possible maybe, I don't know if you could create a couple of different groups to test, but what I'd like to challenge you to do is, you're already, you know, putting a little line in there that says, you know, hope you enjoy, if you know anybody. You have a small referral, a very subtle referral line that you mentioned, and it's worked for you. I'm wondering if there's a way that you could test that versus another group where you'd simply send it out and don't put the line in there at all. Don't ask for the referral at all. And then monitor both of those groups to see what kind of referrals you actually get. Have you ever thought of doing something like that?
No.
Okay, the reason that I issue the challenge is because I'm known for getting on the stage and saying, don't ask for the referral, deserve it. Just be kind to people and whatnot. And I've actually issued this challenge to other business owners from different industries, never in insurance, but in other industries, who've actually done the challenge. And it's quite interesting. It appears that my theory holds up, but I always like to issue the challenge, especially now. It might be hard for you to do that because I get it. You know, you got a system and it works. So why mess with it if it works? But at the same time, it might be interesting for you to, if there's a way for you to test out this exact same card going out, exact same thank you message, no reference to referral line, and just see the difference. Do you think you'd be interested in that, doing that?
I think it would be hard to monitor the difference,
Yeah,
but I would have no problem going in and taking that line out and just using it, because I don't think that, I mean, we've just done that for so long and I haven't upgraded it. I would have no problem taking that out.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference in results that we see. And by the way, we learned this the hard way when we started sending out cards in 2003, and prior to that, we ran a startup business to get my business going. It's called Treat 'em Right Solutions, and all we did in those days was business follow-up. We'd go in and build a campaign for a company, and we didn't have any card catalog, no prompt editor. We didn't have anything back then. We'd go custom build your campaign for you, and you just put in a name and an address, and we'd send the campaign out. But back in those early days, we recommended that you ask for a referral. In fact, we had a referral card in every card.
Oh boy.
You know, it was called a tell a friend card. We thought it was the coolest thing in the world. But we learned the hard way that doing that, it got results. It absolutely got results. But when we started scratching that and saying, just send the thank you, just send the gift with it, don't ask for anything, it's like the referrals kind of dramatically jumped.
You know, I do see that in the brownies that we send, especially around Valentine's Day and that. We don't ask for anything. We just say, you're appreciated. It's a real cute card, and that's about it. It doesn't say much. It just says, enjoy, you're appreciated.
It's really good. Well, we've watched you from a distance all these years, and it's just been amazing. The growth of your agency has been incredible, all pretty much from referral business. And, you know, I'm sure it's a lot more than just sending a greeting card to somebody or appreciating somebody. There's a lot of other things you need to do to be referable. What are the things that you guys do to be referable? You know, how do you be referable?
Well, number one, my business is run pretty much old school. When you call my agency, you don't get a recording. You don't get a push 1 to get this, push 2 to get that. When you call here, somebody answers the phone. And if they ask for somebody that is not available or on the phone, they ask to help, and my people are cross-trained, so anybody can help you that answers. And we don't have voicemail. It's not, can I put you through to voicemail? No, I'm sorry, we don't have it. What can I do to help you? And I think by keeping it that personal, people just know that we can be counted on.
You know, I love hearing that. I love hearing it. Jerry and I have talked back and forth about this old school. We keep saying old school to each other all the time, you know, and to me that's one of those things that could be in the category of old school, but a highly necessary. There's things in the old school that are really necessary today. And I think you just mentioned several of them. I mean, think about it. You know, when do you get the opportunity to talk to somebody on the phone and have them show how much they care about you? It's kind of a lost art these days, and especially in your kind of business. I mean, if I'm buying insurance, I want to talk to somebody. You know, and I know that there's the whole discussion about millennials, and they'd rather just get on a chat forum and have, you know, state something. And I think there's a place for that. But listen, I've raised millennials. I've got kids that are in my family from ages 31 down to 25. They're all millennials. They're all chatters. They're all forum people. They all do all that social media, whatever. But I'll tell you what, they all buy insurance, and they all want to talk to somebody when they buy their insurance. So I don't know. So the people that tell me that we're old school and that doesn't matter anymore, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that, because all the kids I know buying insurance now, boy, they sure want to talk to somebody. So
they did a study, and they found all the online insurance companies that you can get quotes for. Kids will go in and get all kinds of quotes, but very rarely do they actually buy. And the thing is, it can't be an accurate quote. It can give you a guesstimate of what it is, but there's so many underlying reports that we have to run to actually get a true rate that you can't get that online. Yeah,
that's very interesting. So Jerry, you teach this. I mean, you go out and you I'm sure you've utilized a lot of lessons learned with Janet and the agency and some of the stuff the agency's implemented, but you go out and set up other businesses on this kind of stuff. So just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help your clients to put a relationship marketing system in place.
Well, I had this afternoon, I signed up another person for the service, and he's a waiter at the Churchill's. It's a bistro that I go to for lunch. And I wanted to be, now he's known me for 2-3 years. We've had discussions, but I keep thinking in the back of my head, I said, I need to be the voice for the voiceless. I need him to be able to send a heartfelt card, and all of a sudden he'll create his own voice. So I tried to duplicate that so that they really have a feeling of what I'm talking about. And to me, in that point, I said, send it to someone that you love or someone you care about. So by this time next week, he'll start having his own voice. And I think that's what I try to teach. I know what it's about because it was taught to me by the Goldens, and it was taught to me by Send Out, and it was taught to all the things that we do at Send Out about appreciation, send because it's the right thing to do, give to give, not give to get. So to me, being the voice until they get their own voice is kind of what I'm pushing forward to.
So that's interesting way to say that. I want to kind of ask you, when you share, so you're talking about right now, you're talking about the send out card system. And on this show, we typically talk about send out cards because it's such a core service for what we do, but there's a lot of other things that we teach on the show as well. But right now, I mean, both of you are very rich in the send out card system, both in your business and how you recommend others do their business. So when you share the send out card system, like this guy, when you share it with this guy, do you typically, I'm just curious, do you typically send them a card first so they can see the card, or do you show them how to send a card and ask them to send a card?
I would typically show them how to send a card.
And then you give them a way.
They don't feel off level about what to do, how to do it, what button to push. I think it's better that way, showing it.
Now, typically, those people, like this guy in the bistro, when you first showed him how to send a card, had you already sent him cards?
No.
So he'd never seen a card.
No.
Your first step was to show him how to send a card and give him a way to send a card to a loved one.
Right. Right.
So what is the magic in that? What's the magic in doing it that way?
To me, there's one thing about doing it that way is, number one, the fact of being that you're showing them, and you're also showing them that you care and that you will help them. Because no one really wants to get into a business by themselves. So if they see someone they respect, and I've been going there for 3 years, he respects me. And that kind of lured him in to ask me about Send Out because he sees my computer up. And so I think at that point, they want to see if someone would hold their hand a little bit to make that first move. And I'm not bashful to do that.
That ties back to you saying being the voice before they have a voice, which I think you're like the master of words, Jerry. Like you got the master way of saying stuff. It makes people listen. It's like, oh, what was that? I think that was something I better remember. So you go back.
I've told a lot of things from you, Cody. I mean, I see what you do. I see what your people do. I see the culture that's inside of Send Out cards. And I want to speak so highly of your customer service. It's unbelievable. It's like no other company I've ever seen. And that makes you feel comfortable. I got a call in. I'm not quite sure. When you get off of that call, you know you're sure, and there's always it's almost like you can see them smiling through the phone. It's unusual.
Well, I appreciate it.
Has a reputation, and you know you can count on that kind of service. That's what it's all about.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. We sure love, we're family here, you know, we have amazing people that work here, and they see these cards going out off of the presses every day. And there's a real energy in these cards because they're highly personal. There's personal messages on them. There's beautiful pictures. It's a true celebration of life coming off of our presses every day. And our employees see that. And so they do, they care deeply when someone calls in, and we're really proud of them for that. It's great. So I want to jump back. Janet, you're involved with something that's very close to us. In fact, we have some things in common. We both love labs. We both owned labs. We're big dog people. And
girl, she's sleeping right here.
yeah, see, you guys sleeping right there.
Yeah.
Your dog has sent a card to my dog before, and my dog has sent a card to your dogs before. And so You know,
Gus and Maggie.
that's Gus and Maggie. That's right. Gus and Maggie. So you're involved with this Detroit dog rescue. And I got to tell you, hearing the stuff that you're doing is just phenomenal. Can you tell us a little bit about, it's called the DDR, is that right?
DDR, I don't know if you see my little
There you go. Yes.
vest on there.
Yeah. Tell us about this. It's just amazing what you're doing there.
This is so close to my heart that once you get me going, you have to just tell me, Janet, stop. But I have been the president of the board of directors for 4 years now. And I mean, this is ground level. We opened in 2011 and we have come so far. We're the only no-kill in Detroit. We work very closely with the city of Detroit, with the fire department and the police. I am just so proud of this organization. Our organization adopted out over 800 dogs last year. And again, working so closely with the city, we go down to the animal control, who has an average of 300 or 400 dogs there constantly. I mean, Detroit has just a horrible stray dog situation. And we go down there weekly and take 10 to 15 dogs out of there every week. And we don't go in there and say, give us the cute, fluffy ones. Our executive director, Christina Rinaldi, she lives and breathes this organization. And she goes in and says, give me the worst cases you have. Wow. And we would go in there and we take them. And once we take them, they're on our dime. And we have done surgeries that can be $10,000, $12,000 for one dog. But once we get them, our volunteer base they're just welcomed with open arms, and we just have to smile when that dog becomes a DDR dog, because that dog is not only put into any shelter situation. We don't just put in a cage and adopt it out. Our dogs are vetted, then they go into training, they go into whatever it takes. And sometimes we have a dog for 2 or 3 years, and that dog will get adopted out because we're no kill, which means that you have to be under 10% to be a no kill. And we have been consistently 3%.
Wow.
And
wow. Well, it's amazing that you take, I mean, because again, you mentioned some of these animals are in really rough shape. Mm-hmm. And you got that no-kill policy where, you know, you've got to make, there's a big investment to get these dogs back to health again. So how do you raise funds? We have a very giving audience here. So if there's a way for us to make contributions, we'd love to do that.
Well, we are Facebook. We're really big on Facebook. We have a following, I think 3 million people on Facebook.
Wow.
We're very up to date on that. We're national. I do a lot of the banking myself. And when I love Fridays, I open the checks, and the checks that I see can be $5,000 from Texas or from California. People just know from what we've shown and how we live and how everything is just for the dogs. I mean, we have, I think, 6 employees and the rest are all volunteers. All the funds go right to the dogs.
That's incredible.
So I think just following us and seeing how we treat the dogs.
So if we follow you on Facebook, there'd be some links there where we could go make contribution. I mean, there's a call to action there for us to make contributions.
Oh yes, and then also our website, which is just www.detroitdogrescue.com, and that there's a direct link in there to donate. There's a link in there showing all of our current dogs. There's a link showing adopted dogs. We sell merchandise like my new little vest here.
Yeah.
There's so much on our website that's kept very current, and the Facebook, and we do newsletters that go out. We're constantly on Channel 4 and Channel 7, the local news stations, because we're the ones that, like last week, Christina got a call, house on the west side of Detroit had exploded. And for 5 days, this was cold temperatures in Michigan. 2 dogs were chained in the backyard. The people were in the hospital. Nobody could get near these dogs, and they were just out there. So at 10 o'clock at night, when one of the channels got through to Christina, she got right in the car with some of our crew, got down there. Believe me, with their experience, they know how to lure these dogs with the food and everything else to get them. And by the next morning, we had them in our vet's office, and they're DDR dogs now. But they were forgotten dogs.
Yeah.
We've
Wow,
taken dogs off the roof when people move out and leave a dog on the roof of their house, and they just leave.
incredible. So we are listening to Jerry and Janet Gadett. Janet is the owner of the Pepler Agency, Janet Pepler Gadett, and Jerry Gadett, married couple from Michigan, and doing incredible work out there, both building your agency, also the president of the board of directors of the Detroit Dog Rescue, which we encourage all of our listeners to go to www.detroitdogrescue.com. What an incredible work that you're doing there. Ask that you make contribution. A lot of our guests who are on here, by the way, guys, you know, they're authors and they're speakers and this and that. And we always like to try to plug what they're doing and introducing our people. So most call to actions are, you know, go to my website and buy my book or buy my course or whatever. And true to form, the way you guys are, you know, your call to action is to go give to a charity that helps dogs find a home and get back to health again. And it's just a tribute to who you are. And nothing against the guys that are selling the books, because that's all great. But you guys are always, the first thing on your mind is how you can give back. And you've done such an incredible job. Great examples to all of us on how to do that. So we really, really appreciate that. So what I like to do on this show is I always like to close out by giving you the floor. I've asked you questions. You've kind of been put in my little sandbox and you're just responding to whatever I ask. I always like to close out by just giving you the floor. You know, anything you would like to share, either one of you, to our audience. It could be about relationship marketing or life itself, or kindness, or acting on promptings, or whatever your message is. We're going to close out the show by giving you the floor. So go right ahead.
That belongs to Jerry.
Well, as I've gone through my send out card business, after doing it a little bit and helping people send that special card to someone else, all of a sudden there's a power that comes over you. Like this morning when I was eating breakfast at the diner, there was something that just came over me to say, hey, listen, I need that guy, buy that guy breakfast that was sitting by himself. Nobody around him, suit and tie, minding his own business. But there's something about when you do this kind of business, when you're a pay forward person, or you're a person who's in a business that's about relationships. I needed to step out at that time and buy him breakfast. And it just made me feel so good. And I want to thank Send Out Cards for that, for taking what I already had and letting it grow to a larger group of people. And I want to be that same way with my grandchildren and with my wife and with other people in my family.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate your kind words, and your message is always spot on. Janet, anything to add to that? Or
That's my man. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'll tell you, you're sure level. We talk about level 4. It's to create a habit in life. There's 4 levels. Level 4 is called unconscious competence. You don't think about it, you just do it, and that becomes a habit. I like to call you two, kind of like Bob and Betty Ann Golden, your sponsors. You're the same way. You're level 4 good-looking people. So you're just you're just habitually good-looking, and you know we just appreciate so much both of you and the example you are to us all. Look forward to seeing you at an upcoming event that we have. So there you have it, everybody. This is Jerry and Janet Gadett out of Michigan, and grateful to have you on our show today, representing the Pepler Agency and the Detroit Dog Rescue, and Jerry as a relationship marketing specialist. One of our best shows ever. We're going to certainly recommend everybody listen to this. You've just given us great golden nuggets of wisdom, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Cody.
Absolutely. So there you have it, my friends. We look forward to seeing you keep tuning in. Tune in every week. We got stuff like this every single week for you. Keep tuning in, and let's keep learning. Let's keep sharing. Let's keep giving. Take care, everybody. We'll see you now.
Have enjoyed this episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B. Be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a review so that together we can get this message, The Power of Human Connection, out to the world. You can find Cody's new book, The Power of Human Connection, on Amazon or the Send Out Cards gift store.